Welcome. This is the premiere show of the That Blerd Life channel. And I'd like to welcome everybody to our new station. Finally, after a year of planning and trying to get everything prepared and live, finally going live. It's been a horrible year trying to do this. So finally, I'm live and I'm finally doing it. First thing I like to say, this is a live stream of a podcast. Podcast is That Blerd Life, and the live stream is on YouTube. And the channel itself is basically about That Blerd Life, where we talk about tech, reviews, and games, drones, and anything blerdy. That is basically, this would be a community for all of us blerds looking for a place to chat, talk, ask for help. Eventually we'll have it where you can call in or chat live and ask for, questions. But basically this is a live podcast, and I just basically keep it 100 about everything. Simply because there's no other place on YouTube or anywhere for blerds like ourselves. So that's what this is all about. I wanted to go live today simply because today was WWDC, and also I tried to go live this weekend with my last final attempt ever of trying to get a co-host. It's been a year. I went through three or four people trying to do co-hosting on the channel. Everyone says yes, and no one does anything. So it's kind of pointless, worthless. And the problem basically is blerds aren't that, there aren't there many of us really in the real world. And so it's hard to meet other blerds, and I don't know any. So I was just basically trying to find anyone that wanted to help. No one could honestly say no. They always say yes. And then literally the minute of going live, I would hear nothing. And they would wait because they know the show is only an hour long. They would wait till the hour has run out, not realizing that I can go live anytime. In fact, we aren't live now. This is a recording of what the live show will be. Not realizing that we don't have to go live. We can just record. They would wait the full hour and then start chatting as if I were going to respond in a different way. I would then come back with, hey, let's start the show now. Are you ready? They would ghost again. Days later, if not months later, literally months, I would hear from them again, not realizing that I can then again start the whole process all over again, and would. Still, no one can say, no, I'm not interested, because I'm not a blerd. I'm just a person. No one could be honest. So, with a lack of honesty, I'm doing this show live by myself, no co-host ever. And I will eventually or occasionally have guests on the show to discuss various topics. But I will never have a co-host, and I will never bother myself with asking one or of anyone to do so. If anyone wanted to and was genuine about it, then they'd have to come to me. I'm not asking anyone to do that again. It's been an entire year with that, along with trying to get the tech to run the show. But the biggest part was really trying to find a co-host. That won't happen. I'm not concerned with that anymore. Like I said, I keep it 100. This is a show and channel unlike any other. We don't just talk about tech and blerdy things. We talk about life as well. That's why it's called That Blerd Life. And part of being in That Blerd Life is, as a blerd, I don't know any blerds. I'm sure eventually I'll meet some because of the show. But aside from that, I don't know any. So it's been really hard to, I guess, find people that have an interest in things that matter to blerds. To explain what a blerd is, for those who don't know, and just finding this show for the first time or this topic for the first time, a blerd is a black nerd. Um, we have a differentiation between it because when you are trying to be, as you are, when you aren't inclusive, you completely leave out everything that we as blerds would find interesting. Um, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I've been a Star Wars fan since Star Wars came out, basically. Um, so when they finally got a black character, I was excited. And in fact, the only collectibles I collect from Star Wars really is Darth Vader and Finn. And in the Blur community, that's cool. That's acceptable. In the nerd community, Finn was not accepted in any way, shape, or form. Um, we all know that. You can go to the internet and read all the comments, complaints. I mean, head rolling, all of that. That's what a nerd is. And as a blerd, we look for ourselves in things, though we accept all things. But we also like to see ourselves in things as well. So that's what a blerd is. So for those who didn't know, now you know. So I wanted to start the show today really to talk about WWDC, which is fitting since this is the premiere show and WWDC was today. So I have been for the longest looking to the iPad Pro for doing really professional things with the tech itself. Because you can do professional work with anything, but for that specific item, I wanted something, some reason to purchase the new M1 iPad 2021. There's absolutely no reason for me to purchase it, and I wouldn't advise anyone if you are looking to use it as a different iPad from any other iPad. It isn't. It really isn't. You can do the exact same things on any iPad. Nothing about it is different other than maybe the screen and the processor within. Nothing aside from that is different. And today was a very disappointing day for WWDC because that's one of the things I was looking for was professional software. A reason to really call that a computer in quotes, where you could buy that itself as opposed to getting a laptop. You can't. There's literally, it's just basically another iPad, any other iPad. I just can't imagine what they're thinking because the tech inside it is amazing, such as for part of this year, that's the reason why it took so long for me to actually begin the show was the computer I needed to run the channel. I don't do Windows, and for the software I use to run the show, I use Ecamm, and Ecamm only runs on Mac, which is fine and perfect for me because that's all I have. But I need a powerful enough computer to run it. The computer I happened to buy could not. It couldn't do anything. It couldn't do anything but process. The internet, word processing, graphic design. It couldn't do anything past that. You couldn't edit video on it. The processor was horribly slow. So I was going to buy an upgraded version. I have the previous version I have is the 2014 Mac Mini. So I was going to purchase a 2020 Mac Mini, but by the time I got around to purchasing that, they released the M1 Mac Mini. And that is literally leaps and bounds over anything before and cheaper. So it was easy for me to get it. So that's what I did. And that same processor they decided to put inside of the iPad for 2021, but not use it. I don't even understand why they put it in there. They're not even using it with the power that it can do. I don't even know why you would purchase that. So I have no reason to. So naturally, y'all will get the cheaper, older version of the iPad Pro because, and I say that meaning last year's version or whatever, um, because you can find them cheaper because everybody is selling them or they're refurb because of the latest one. So you can find them even cheaper. And they do the same thing. There's nothing different. So I don't see a reason to get the M1 version. Though I love the processor. Like M1 processor is the best. I mean, hands down. The fact that I can run everything to include the show with a web browser open without a countless number of tabs and it runs flawlessly, there's no question. But for it to be in a very specific item such as the iPad and not use the power of it, I don't see why they would have done that. And WWDC really traditionally has always been about the software. Occasionally they've talked about hardware. So what I expected on the software side that they would have allowed professional grade software to be brought over to the Mac or the iPad. And that didn't happen. So that was the disappointment of WWDC. Everything else, perfect. I look forward to all the changes and the upgrades that they're bringing to the software. I always love the software itself, and that I'm looking forward to. But it couldn't without. I mean, that's just ridiculous to spend that much. I mean, you have people spending $2,000 for a new iPad, and it's basically the same as a $300, $400 iPad. So it doesn't make any sense. Then, as of taping, really, Alexa, disregard. Amazon released Alexa Sidewalk, and I had been hearing about it before and thought it was a great idea, so I let it go. I didn't think anything of it. And then today they said they were releasing it, so I looked into, okay, cool. What is it, and what are, if it has changed in the previous talkings they had about it, has anything changed? But in looking into it, I find people in the tech world, nerds, that are against it. And when they explain why they're against it, I hear the thing that I always hear is, we don't really care about anyone but me. So what Sidewalk is supposed to do, it's supposed to be the basically it allows Alexa devices to use part of your Wi-Fi to make basically a mesh network. That's the easiest way of stating it. I wish they would just say it that way. A mesh network of devices, similar to how Apple does with their devices, where all of them, especially with the AirTags now, there's a network of devices for all the millions of Apple products out there. You can find your products if you need to easily, because they communicate with each other via Bluetooth. So if it's around another Apple device, it can be found. So Alexa, or Amazon, I should say, Amazon decided to use Alexa devices to do the same thing, because they are basically in the home, they decided to use Wi-Fi to do that. So everyone within a neighborhood with Alexa devices will communicate with each other so that you can find your items easier, or they will work, such as when I come home, I have Alexa in the car. So when I come home, what I really want Alexa to do without me telling her to do it, such as my Apple devices will do it, is unlock my door as I'm approaching the door. Not me sitting in the car having to tell Alexa to unlock the door, but to do it because I'm in the vicinity of it. With that expanded out, as I enter the neighborhood, it can do other functions aside from unlocking the door. It can turn the lights on or whatever, because it knows that I'm there in the area. Those types of things I like. To hear others complain about it having nothing to do with their usual complaint about privacy. They don't. It's not even that. They don't, because the privacy is encrypted. There's nothing that, aside from it showing you your location, um, it will not give up any data. So it's not going to say to Amazon, this, any other information other than this is where you are. So they're okay with that. They're not okay with other people's devices using a little bit of your internet to mesh this network, this community, your neighborhood in which you live together to help everyone else around you out. So that's the problem. And so, of course, I hear them like, naturally, that's the problem. You all really don't have a community. Y'all don't care about anyone but yourself. I don't even know how you would, and there are no fixes that they could expand on how they would make it better. It's just, I don't like it because my neighbor will be using some of my Wi-Fi to make this neighborhood mesh thing work. I don't think that's right. You're kidding. It's not even, you won't even notice it. Not only that, but it's like you're hoarding internet bandwidth. You've got to be kidding me. What are you doing? It's not even something physical. It's bandwidth you will never see. You can't touch it. It's just devices communicating with each other with internet provided by everyone that has internet and those devices. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's crazy, which also makes sense as to why I brought it up today, because that Blerd Life, the reason for our existence is because of that. There's no community where blurs are allowed to exist in the nerd community. So it makes sense for the nerds to be against something like this. It just makes sense. I mean, you can talk about tech all day and, I love this and I love that and blah, blah, blah. But the moment you start saying, oh, yeah, well, we'll make a community with it, we have a problem. Oh, no, that's not cool. So I just want to know what do you think about Alexa Sidewalk? Are you okay with something like that? Making a community of devices where things work better over distances as opposed to at your door or inside your home? I like to know what people think about that. Again, those are the two topics for today that I thought would be interesting, especially on a premiere episode. And I just like to reiterate, EJ the Blerd, and this is a channel for all of us in the community. And for everyone, if you could, whenever this goes live, and you like whatever, I expect, because this is my first one, of course, any comments, concerns, criticisms, put it in the comment section. I will, because I can, read every single one, and I appreciate it. Also, share it with others so we can actually grow the community. So we all have a place to talk about things, because it's all about talking, as opposed to just me talking about the things that I like. I like to talk with others about whatever it is. Let's say you have a tech problem and you need help with it, you can ask. I'm a Blerd, so naturally, of course, everyone in my family comes to me for tech problems. So I'm well versed in helping people with tech problems. Also, if you have anything you want to discuss, comics or anime, this is the place for that. So share it with your friends, especially the podcast. All the links are down below. If you haven't noticed, they've been flipping around. Just, comment, share, subscribe as well. And until next time, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.